Polk is practicing, Kendricks is practicing. Everybody's practicing except for Brad Smith. Kelsey will practice. Don't know how much of all those guys. I don't know what they'll do. And Evan Mathis can't practice till tomorrow. So
You did say Sproles will practice that?
yep,
Full, do you think, or
they're all full to go. So we'll see how long what they can do. So
With Kendricks back, what's the plan for Marcus Smith? Will you keep him at inside linebacker?
there's no plan. I mean, Mychal hasn't practiced in a while, so we'll go see what Mychal can do today, and then that's about it right now.
With the inside linebackers there, Marcus?
Yeah.
You made the move to re-sign Julian Vanderbilt, cut Wade Smith. Is there a chance maybe he starts at center until Jason's ready, or
No, we're just Julian was an outstanding player for us. Plays both guard and tackles. Got a great experience in our system. Got hurt. Obviously, had a back injury and has recovered from his back injury, and was just trying to improve our roster.
How has Marcus Smith looked at inside linebacker spot?
He's done a good job. I think the transition is something he hasn't played the position before, but I think the transition in terms of never playing a position to get in there added some value for us and some nickel snaps. So he's done a nice job on that.
Is this something you can see continuing?
I don't know. I mean, it's all based on depth where we are. 2 more inside linebackers get hurt, he stays. Everybody's healthy, and outside linebacker gets hurt. That's what hypotheticals I don't really deal with. We'll just go day by day with the whole situation.
So the Cardinals are their defense. The passing defense isn't really as strong as it was last year, but the run defense is still a strength. What do you see?
I disagree with your first statement, but you can.
I mean, in terms of numbers.
Yeah, that's because teams, when you look at just numbers, it doesn't make sense. What are you going to do when the Cardinals are up? You're going to throw the ball on them, so they're going to give up more passing yards. So what do you do when you're up on offense? You run the ball more. I mean, when you just look at statistics and say, this isn't that good, I disagree with that statement. I think their defense is outstanding. It's just the Cardinals' offense is so good. They've been up in almost every game they played, so people at the end of the game have to throw the ball more than they have to run the ball. So when
He's been hard on himself in terms of how he's performing.
he looks good to me on film, so doesn't Cromartie. I think they got 2 outstanding corners and a real good football team. They got a great pass rush. I think Dan Williams inside does a really good job. Okafor and Acho on the outside create a lot of pressure. If Calais Campbell is back, he's one of the top defensive linemen in the league. So there's a reason that team's got the record that they have. I think they have they're outstanding in all phases. There's not a weakness there when you're looking at them.
In the offseason, when you talked about beating man coverage, I remember you mentioned Patrick Peterson. What separates him from some of the other corners in the league?
I just think his size. He's 6'1", 219 pounds playing corner. And he's got breakaway speed. He's been an outstanding returner in this league. They've actually used him on offense at times. I think, that combination of athleticism with that size is pretty difficult to replicate. I don't think there's many people that are as big as him. And then they went out and got Cromartie, who's 6'2", another tall, long corner. Just 2 real big physical corners out there. They do a great job in press coverage. So.
What do you see from their defense? Why they're so good against the run? And I think
I just think again it's the personnel they have. Now, obviously, Todd does a great job with their scheme. I think that their scheme's somewhat unique in terms of getting in and out of fronts. They run a lot of different looks on the defensive side of the ball, so they can confuse you a little bit. But also, they've got some really, really good football players on the defensive side of the ball.
You had a meeting with Tal when you first got here because he was still part of the team. What did you learn about him when you talked to him?
He's a great football coach. Got a real good mind, sharp. He knew exactly what he was doing, but he had already had a job, so he was out the door before I really got in the door. So.
Chip, when you were mic'd up against during the Giants game, you had that line, culture beats scheme every time. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I was just having a conversation with Jordan Kovacs, who's one of our practice squad players who just got here, and asked him how he was doing, and he said, you have a really good coaching here. So just a response to a line with the practice squad player.
Hey, just think about that. I mean, if that is a theory that you have, the culture that you're trying to build here, and how you think that's...
I think culture is more important than scheme. So pretty straightforward, black and white.
Do you think it's more important than talent?
I don't know. That wasn't the conversation I had.
Chip, Victor Cruz said you went to visit him in the hospital. What made you decide to visit him?
I just think the way he got injured, and I think when you look at what happened, I mean, we're all competitors in this game, but there's a feeling no matter who it is when you see someone get hurt in a game, and to the extent that he got hurt, is just had an opportunity on Monday morning to stop by, see if he was okay, if he needed anything before he got transferred up to New York. So.
Do you feel comfortable enough where Sproles and Polk are health-wise to stay put, or do you think of
I have no idea. I haven't seen them. I said it last week. They'll run around here today and we'll make some decisions. But I haven't seen them do anything since the Giants game. We were off all last week. So.
Can it take maybe half a practice for these guys to get back in full gear again after not being in that grind for that 1 week?
Yeah, it's a good question. And that's what we addressed in our meetings. You hope it doesn't, but you obviously had some time off. But I think you would hope they'd have a little bit of bounce in their stuff because they've had some time off. So we'll see. There was a lot of guys in here yesterday on their day off, getting treatment, checking film out on their own, and all that. So I don't anticipate these guys not being ready to go. It's a pretty good group that way.
Obviously, you've been through one bye last year. What are the pluses and minuses for your football team with the bye?
I think the pluses are you get a break. We had been at it for 10 straight weeks, or a little bit longer than 10 weeks, but we played 10 games, including the 4 preseason games. So you get a little chance to rest up, get away from it from a little bit, not only physically but mentally. So I look at it as a plus. So
there's no minus to the fact.
I never look at it as minuses because it's not like you can say we don't like the bye, so let's change it. I mean, they just tell us when it is, and you got to live with it. So I think obviously when you play as many games as we play, that it's good to get a little bit of break in there. So
when you face a 3-man front versus a 4-man front, does it change much of how you approach it, the run game?
It depends on what you're getting because they play both, so it's not like they play. Yeah, I know, but they play 3-man front, they play 4-man front. Sometimes they play 2-man front. So it's not when you play them they're just going to be in one defense the entire game. So you got to be prepared for all of those looks. And I think everybody, even you look at the Giants last week, they hadn't shown any odd looks, but then they played us in odd. So it's something that we have to prepare for every week, whether it's a 3-down spacing or 4-down spacing. So
went odd because maybe some teams have had more success when they go with an odd man front. Do you think teams are going to try and do that a little more than staying full?
I didn't have the opportunity to ask them why they went odd, so I don't know why they went odd. So.
This is a dumb question, but do you think when getting guys like Sproles and Kendricks and Kelsey back out there, whether they're going to play Sunday or not, do you give everybody a lift, just kind of seeing guys coming back?
I think everybody wants to make sure Darren wasn't hurt extensively, and obviously the fact that he's back out practicing, that it wasn't a real serious injury. It looked a little bit probably worse than it was. So, and these guys care about each other. This team's a pretty tight team, pretty together team, and they don't want anybody to be injured. And when anybody gets hurt, even if it's somebody on the other team, that can affect you. And that's kind of when Victor went down. No one wants to see that in any player. So, when you get an opportunity to get some of those guys back, I think it's a little bit of a boost to you.
Film's caught Foles giving the refs an earful after that play. There's a couple instances where we've seen glimpses of his assertiveness on the field this year. Is that something that's been there the whole time, or is that something new this year?
No, that's the Nick Foles I know. So I didn't see the clip or whatever, but I've seen Nick being very assertive. So I don't see that other side. So
is he growing more into that role, though?
I think he's been the same since I've been here. So.
What's the process for self-scouting? You guys mentioned that a lot during the bye week. What does that mean?
We just analyzed what we did, certain situations. We went through goal line, went through coming out, we went through 3rd-down situations, we went through openers, kind of looked at everything, what we were successful at, kind of look at it on film, what we weren't successful at, why we weren't successful at it. Was it personnel? Was it scheme? Was it, we weren't prepared for this? So you're kind of looking at everything that you're doing.
So with Kelsey, are you going to he's practicing. Are you going to throw him right back in the first team in practice, or
no? He hasn't done anything. He's just coming off of surgery, so I hope he ties his shoes right, and we're going to put him in some individual drills and see what he can do. So, but he's not. I just said they're all practicing. That doesn't mean they're anything more than they're all practicing. So.
In these next 2 weeks with Mathis, how do you handle him knowing that he can't play?
Yeah, he's not going to get first team reps. We just got to work him back in, to football shape. He's got to get himself an opportunity. When someone comes off and is eligible to come off in that situation, I think the rules in the right manner is that he kind of got 2 weeks to get himself up to speed from a football standpoint because he has missed an extensive period of time. So,
Matt suggested that Kelsey's ahead of schedule. Do you agree with that sentiment?
I haven't seen Jason Kelsey do anything since he got operated on, so I can't make any assumptions in terms of where he is or where he isn't. So I know he's been working extremely hard in the weight room. I know he's been working hard with our trainers and doing things on the side, but maybe he's a better doctor than our doctors are. So. I don't know I really, not being evasive, no one knows. He hasn't done anything. So.
Does Kelsey and soon Mathis back in practice, do you have to think about or talk about Mulk or Tobin about their roles going forward?
Nah, we're on a 1 week season. We've been that all along. Our total focus and goal is the Arizona Cardinal game. So that's not a concern of anybody's right now.
Cardinals game was leaving last year. Have you gone back and looked at that game? Is that a benefit?
Yeah, we look at everybody. We looked at both Giants game when we played the Giants. If we played a team before it's a benefit to us. We'll go back and watch it. We played the Bears in preseason. We watched the Bears from the year before. So we played the Patriots in preseason. We watched the Patriots game in preseason from before. So whenever you have a game from a year ago, and the coordinators are the same and the coaches are the same, you're going to take a look at it. If it's a whole new coaching staff, then sometimes that doesn't benefit you. But if it's got the same coaching staff, and obviously they do, so we looked at it.
It seems personnel-wise, the offensive line has some new faces. Ellington was a presence they didn't have in that game last year. What do you see from them offensively compared to last season?
I think they got a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, Carson came back against the Raiders and did a really nice job in his first game back. But then Ellington, who we didn't see, I think is an added plus in the backfield. And then you add the receivers, so you got Fitzgerald, you got Floyd, and then they got the young rookie and John Brown is a real explosive player. So they've got a lot of weapons, and they do a lot of different things on the offensive side of the ball, spread the ball around to all those guys. So it's going to be quite a matchup for our defense.
When you have a week off like you did last week, you kind of like look ahead at some of their upcoming opponents, beyond Arizona. You just
No. We looked at ourselves at the beginning of the week, and then we looked at Arizona.
Can it be tougher coming off a win like you just had? Maybe the best, since you took over, to get a team prepared rather than coming off maybe a loss or you had to kind of struggle to win?
I hope not. I wouldn't want it the other way, I'll tell you that. I mean, if I had my choice, I would rather have it the way we have it right now. I mean, but you always want to continue to play, but we still have a lot of things from the Giants game that we can improve on. It wasn't, we didn't play a complete football game. We turned the ball over a couple times on the offensive side of the ball. We punted 6 times. We got to do a better job in a lot of categories. So it's not like we're patting ourselves on the back after that performance. I thought we played well. I thought we played with good energy. I thought we played hard, but there's still a lot of things we can do to be a better football team.
Your practice squad players, how do you use them during the week, and are they in positions that if you need to promote them later in the week, they know the scheme, they know what's expected?
Yeah, they certainly know the scheme. It really just would depend on the situation and what position. There's some positions we don't have practice squad players at, so that would be a little bit difficult in terms of bringing someone up from that situation. We don't have a practice squad tight end. If you lost a tight end, you're not going to promote a receiver because you lost a tight end. So it's, but those guys play multiple positions. They have to play offense and defense. They have to give looks on special teams at the same time. They probably get the most work during the week from a physical standpoint just because they're not playing in the game. You have to be a little bit conscious when you're looking at your scout squad guys, when you're in training sessions, of how much you're running those guys in those sessions, because you also have to keep them fresh. Our scout squad, our practice squad players have been, we use them to nth degree, but all those guys that understand, obviously Will Murphy and Karan Pratt have a little bit more than, say, Jordan Kovacs, who just came in here, but those guys understand the scheme. They're in every meeting. They know what's going on. So if you had to bring someone up, ideally that's the situation. We did it last year. We did it with Acho. We brought him up. We brought Tucker up. You're hoping that we brought Kevin Graff up for a couple weeks, but sometimes you have to go outside. And we went outside to get Wade Smith, so it's not a hard and fast rule that we're taking a practice squad player and bringing him up. That's the only way we're going to do it. You just got to see what's the best situation for him. So.